All right, let's talk about Montez Sweat of the Chicago Bears, who had a great game. He lit up the stat sheet and made some really good plays too. It wasn't one of those games, sometimes a player gets like 3 sacks, but then you watch the sacks and it was like a coverage sack, like, a blown assignment offensively, and then maybe they earn one sack, but just, the stats are inflated. No, this was a really good day by Montez Sweat. Again, there's always going to be some luck in a 2.5 sack game, but I thought he was really good, and this was let's start off with one of his really good plays. It's going to be this one. He is going to be going up one-on-one against the right tackle here for Cleveland. So that's the way this is going to work. Okay, well, let's see what happens. So right when this play begins, it's James Hudson, the tackle who's trying to block Montez Sweat, an emphasis on trying. You see how Sweat was able to, again, use that long reach to really shove Hudson to the side. And I should be, clear here. Hudson, not exactly a star player. In fact, currently, if you're a fan of PFF, he is currently graded as the 80th overall tackle out of 83 eligible tackles on the season, so hasn't been spectacular, is only out there due to injuries, but still, if you get a favorable matchup, well, it's your job to win it, and Montez Sweat isn't just winning it, he's dominating it. Watch him get a straight shot to Flacco until he doesn't, and it was one of the weird scenarios where the other edge rusher also won his one-on-one matchup, but because of that, he got blocked just in front of Flacco, which created a wall, so Sweat can't get to Flacco, so, okay, it is what it is. You weren't able to get the sack, but that's why you look at pressures instead of sacks. He was able to make the play work. Well, no, watch him run over, and he is going to kind of force a fumble on Flacco. It kind of looked like Flacco threw the ball backwards. I'm assuming the contact is what caused that to happen. Either way, bit of a weird play, but it's one of those things where when you're watching that play live, you might just sort of assume, oh, okay, well, yeah, you got the sack, but it was, took a long time for it to happen. Probably just one of those cleanup sacks, which, hey, still help the team. There's still value, but not quite as impressive as beating a tackle, right off the line. Well, no, he beat the tackle right off the line and then got over and was able to also get the cleanup sack after he got kind of unlucky with the roadblock put in front of him. On this play, it's going to be a running play, once again going up one-on-one against James Hudson on this one. So you see where he is, kind of, there's another Bears player right in front of him. He's the one who is in a 3-point stance, not the 2-point stance, but let's see what happens. I mean, watch right when this play begins. Sweat just shoves Hudson to the side. I mean, poor Hudson. What did this guy ever do to Montez Sweat? He's just getting shoved around left and right here. But again, okay, good job. You cleared up that area, but if you don't get back over there, all you've really done is you still, created a hole for the running back. So still, you have to find a way to try and impact this play in a positive way. I mean, either way, it's been a good play. He got a blocker out of position, but you want to do more than just that. Watch Sweat come back. He actually helps make that tackle, and I didn't even set up the situation, but that was a 3rd down and 3 where they forced a 4th down. So really important play by Sweat, and that was all Sweat right there. And so, everyone likes to talk about pass rush, but to me, run defense is just as important when it comes to an edge rusher. I'm, one of the few people who feel that way. So, most people care more about the pass rush. But Sweat has always been a player who can do both, and we saw it in this game. Even on a play like this, where it wasn't an obvious running situation, it's going to be a 1st down and 10, and they're going to kind of try to surprise him a little bit. It's going to be the right guard who's going to get over and actually block him, not the tackle. So, okay, for those of you who I'm sure were already in the comments saying, oh, wow, he beat up on a backup, tackle, big deal. This is Wyatt Teller, one of the best guards in football. Watch as when Wyatt Teller pulls around, he gets to Sweat, but Sweat moved so quickly that Teller really isn't in a great position. Again, there's still an opportunity. If you're Teller, what you want to do here is just try to push Sweat towards the, kind of bottom of the screen, almost bottom left corner of the screen. That's the area you're going to want to push Sweat towards. But it doesn't work at all. Sweat gets around, and he helps make that tackle. He wasn't the one who finished it off, but he made that play. Make no mistake about it. So, really, again, these are the types of plays that, okay, they technically show up in a stat sheet as a tackle, but I don't know anyone who really looks at defensive end tackles, so not really showing up in the stat sheet that people look at and care about, but really important plays to help out your team win, and that's what he was able to do. Also, something like this, where what's going to happen is this is a kind of a double team, not really though. The halfback is going to chip Sweat, and then he is going to run a route, so that's the way this works, but the tackle is still going to pay attention to Sweat. And yes, it is still our guy, James Hudson, on this play. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Watch as Flacco takes the snap, and you see right off the bat, what's happening is it's a stunt. So you see that Sweat goes towards the inside, that an interior defensive lineman then go towards the outside. Hudson tried to pass off Sweat, but there was no one to pass him off to. So this is really good play calling and good scheming by the Bears defensive coaching more than anything, but still well executed by Sweat. Again, the disadvantage is it might take you a little bit longer to get in position, so you have to have the speed to get over there. However, of course, Sweat does. He's able to get over there and get that sack on Flacco, so really good stuff on that one. So, again, I said that there was maybe a little bit of luck in the 2.5 sack situation. I'm not sure if luck's the perfect word, but there was definitely some other guys who came through here, whether it was other defensive players helping set that up or just the coaching in general and the play calling. That being said, though, you still have to execute the play, and he was able to do that. So, there still is value in being able to execute a play, even if it was a good situation. Still got to take advantage of that situation, which Sweat did. Also heading over here, this is another interesting one where once again, it's going to be going up one-on-one against James Hudson, but this is just unfair. So they actually have the halfback who's going to be blocking as well. Like watch as when you see Sweat goes here, he sees that Hudson kind of takes a step towards the outside and he's going to say, well, let me see if I can use my explosiveness, try to make an inside move. Again, the halfback is behind. He's also ready for Sweat. But watch Sweat make an inside move, but then gets around a halfback. He gets over, and he only gets credit for half a sack. He should get credit for 2 sacks on that one. I mean, that's just an incredible play by Montez Sweat. So, yeah, he was having a great game. Unfortunately, it was in a loss, which, let's be honest, the Bears have heard that far too many times over the past several seasons of, player X had a great game in a loss. But, hey, as of right now, I mean, again, there's debates to be had over whether that trade was the correct trade, right? To me, I defended it at the time, and I think I will still defend it. I think at the very least, even if you are critical of the trade, you have to admit it's working out. The way that the Bears wanted it to work out, it is doing that, which is at least the first step, right? You never want to trade where you try to do it a certain way, and then, it doesn't even work out to what you wanted to have happen. Those are the terrible trades. Like the Broncos of Russell Wilson, they thought they were getting an elite quarterback, and then that just didn't happen, even though he's played all right this year. With this, at least, they were going for a edge rusher who's okay, no, maybe he's not a top 5 guy, but he's like a top 15 guy, and that's how he's been playing for the Bears, which is great. And sack totals have been great. Maybe some people who value that would say he's been a top 5 guy. I know sacks wise he has been. I would still say more of the top 15-20 range, but I still really like him as a player. And again, to the people saying, well, he was a free agent, just sign him. Guys like Montez Sweat do not reach free agency. They get, they either get tagged and traded, so you would have had to trade for him either way, or you would have had to lock him up to a long-term deal. Sweat was a really underrated player in Washington because Chase Young got all the credit just because he was a higher draft pick, and that's how the world works for whatever reason. But for Sweat, he's been a great player since he's entered the league. He absolutely, I think, is worth a second-round pick. With the way some of these edge rushers get these massive contracts, if anything, I think this is a steal. And again, if you've watched this channel a lot, my stance on edge rushers. So, and kind of pass rush maybe not being as important as some people think it is. So because of all that, if I'm defending a pass rush trade, it's probably a good trade. He's been great for them. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.